What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 2020 Grizzlies draft coverage presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm Kelcey. Today I am joined by Lang Whitaker. And Lang, we pretty much know that this is kind of a wide open draft class. The first three names, LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, but who knows where these three are going to end up when it comes to the 1, 2, 3 pick. So if you are Minnesota, you're number one. Who do you think is the best fit for you?
Yeah, those three names seem to kind of be the consensus we keep hearing thrown around, but in different orders. We know it. We don't really know which order they're going to go. If I'm Minnesota, I already have Karl Anthony Towns. I have D'Angelo Russell. So I think if I'm going to draft somebody, I want someone to sort of connect those guys. You have a point guard, you have a big man. Give me somebody who can play the wing, and that would have to be Anthony Edwards. The knocks on him have been he's never really played against top-level competition regularly. He's always been the best player on every team he's been on. How does he fit into a team where he's kind of asked to take a secondary role? But physically, he's tested off the charts from what I've seen and what I've read. Was awesome at the University of Georgia last season. Go Dogs. And I just don't know how he fits in there. I think that's kind of the issue with this draft is like all these players who are the top three, that top tier, there's questions about all of those guys.
Well, that's the thing about Anthony Edwards. I would say out of, the top 15, 14 guys who were in the lottery, he's definitely the best athlete. He's got a 6'10 wingspan. His defense in college wasn't spectacular, but you can see that because he's athletic and because he has that reach that he will be good on defense. My only thing is that he is another person who likes to have the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that Minnesota has a ton of wings.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I kind of like LaMelo Ball for them, even though they have D'Angelo Russell. I say you move Russell to the 2, but then again, you have two guys who also want the balls in their hands. So it's such a tricky, does Minnesota go for the best athlete and just hope that, that ceiling continues to get higher?
They did that before with Andrew Wiggins, and I think that's probably why they're a little bit reticent to think about Anthony Edwards, because you can see sort of the same skill set, some of the same issues cropping up there. The other thing with Edwards is his shooting wasn't great at the University of Georgia, his outside shooting. But as you said, they already have a lot of wings. Wing is sort of the position in the NBA now that you can't have enough of, right? There's all these small lineups teams are playing, and a guy like Karl Anthony Towns can play the 5 and get up and down the court and can shoot the ball and spread the floor. So I think you can't have too many wings. And the thing with Ball to me there is, like you said, D'Angelo Russell is such a ball-heavy player and needs the ball in his hands to do stuff, and you can't really have two guys like that on the court. So I think, to me, Anthony Edwards is probably the smart choice for the T-Wolves. I think we agree on that one.
I think we could too. So the thing also is that it was either going to be LaMelo Ball or Anthony Edwards in that number 1 spot, but I think it's almost locked in, in my own mind at least, that the other one who doesn't get picked first doesn't move to 2, they move to 3. Because James Wiseman just seems like the perfect fit for Golden State. You disagree?
I disagree.
Tell me.
Because I feel like the perfect fit for Golden State might be LaMelo Ball. Here's why.
Get the ball out of Steph's hands?
No. So the way the Golden State plays, right, ball movement, you find the open guy. You have two of the best shooters, maybe the 2 best shooters in the NBA. The one thing LaMelo Ball is not great at, shooting the ball.
Yep.
The one thing he is great at, facilitating, passing, finding the open guy. He's got size. He's 6'7", 6'8", so he can kind of play that wing. You could maybe in a year or two when he gets some more muscle, play him as like a stretch 4 even or a 3. So you got Draymond Green who can sort of do that same thing, read the floor, pass the ball. Look, this Golden State team has playmakers on the court, and Steve Kerr figures out how to get the playmakers to do stuff and put them in positions to be successful. If you watch the highlights of LaMelo Ball, if nothing else, he's a playmaker. And I feel like if you put him on the court with Steph Curry, with Klay Thompson, with Draymond Green, and whoever else, get a defender out there, that's a pretty good foursome to have on the court at the end of games.
So the other thing that I would like about LaMelo playing with the Warriors is that because he is so young, playing with 3 veterans like that would help him kind of mature easily in this league. So he averaged 17, 7.5, and 7 assists last year playing pro in Australia.
Yeah.
So I do like that 7 assist number when it comes to, how many times can he pass to Steph and get an easy assist?
But to me, the 7 rebounds is huge.
7.5 rebounds.
It's partly because of his size, but also just shows that he has a knack for figuring out where to get rebounds. And I think if you're going to have him play off the ball a little bit, then that might be a thing he could kind of help out at and chip in. Although there's not going to be a lot of rebounds on Golden State to go around because those guys don't miss.
Yeah,
so,
and you got Draymond Green.
I mean, but at the same time, James Wiseman would be a great fit for that team. You could put him in at the 5. It allows Draymond to kind of not be the one guy under the rim all the time. You have somebody behind you to help out, block shots, that kind of thing. The thing about big guys in the NBA, though, is, their first year or two, they're going to get a lot of fouls called on them. We saw it with Jaren here. It takes some time to adjust. It takes them a season or two to kind of figure out how to play in the NBA and not just be in foul trouble all the time, especially because you're going to lose the strength battle almost every time in the post. So with James Wiseman, there might be a little bit more of a learning curve and a little bit more of an experience curve than there would be with someone else.
Yeah, I do. So I do like James Wiseman for the Warriors. I think they kind of are missing that. He's really mobile. That's what I like about him. So he'll be able to run up and down with Golden State. And I like that they haven't had really like a true big rim protector.
Right.
And I felt like that was kind of the missing piece that they had. I kind of picture him as like a bigger Chris Bosh, which I think would be a perfect fit for a team that they are small. Draymond Green down low, like he's not a rim protector. And then you kind of get that lob game going with Steph. Like you're pulling defenders out so much past the 3-point line that having that lob would be great. Okay, so then we're moving on to number 3, Charlotte, which means if you just took Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball, you're putting James Wiseman at Charlotte. What do you like about that?
I think whoever's left for Charlotte of those 3 guys is going to be a good fit. Like that team's sort of wide open right now. They can just use talent, skill, and whoever goes there is going to get the chance over the next year to get a lot of reps, get a lot of playing time, and to develop. So if I'm Charlotte, I'm just taking the best available player right now, and whoever that is, LaMelo Ball or James Wiseman, great. I'll take him. Bring him here and
I kind of feel like Charlotte is one of those teams in the league right now that's starless. And I hate saying that. They have great players. They have a lot of good pieces, but they're starless. So if they're going to get someone, I think Anthony Edwards would be a good fit there because he is he's a scorer. He's a downright scorer. So if you can just bring someone in who's going to eventually become...
He's from Atlanta. It's like nearby. He's
go.
close by. I would also think if you're Charlotte, maybe this is the time you don't take one of those 3 guys. Maybe there's somebody they really like at 4, 5, 6. You could trade down and get one of these other guys that are getting talked about in that next sort of tier of players. But if those 3 players are going to be the top tier and you're not in love with whoever's there at number 3, this is when you slide back, maybe pick up a pick down the road and find someone else. Because for Charlotte, like this year, you're not going to contend. This is a year to develop and rebuild. So you get whoever you like the best.
That's honestly what I kind of thought the Timberwolves were going to do this year. I was like, I don't know if they need anyone in that top 3 tier, like in that number 1 spot. And I thought the Knicks would be a good one to trade up and get LaMelo Ball, but who knows what's going to happen there. So let's move on to just Chicago quickly. So they're number 4. Are there any names that you think fit well with Chicago? Another very young team that could use really anyone.
I feel like they're in the same spot as Charlotte in a way. And in some ways, it's probably even more wide open because they just got a new coach and a new GM. And, Billy Donovan has shown an ability to develop younger players. So if I'm Chicago, I'm kind of maybe even more eager to trade back than Charlotte and maybe pick up a couple of picks in this draft and maybe get more tools to kind of build it. Also, if I'm the GM of Chicago, like I don't know if I want to trade people right away. Like I just got there, I haven't had time to see these guys and play in Donovan's system. Who do you think Chicago should look at that 4 spot?
I don't think they should trade. I think they should maybe be what Charlotte's going to do right now and just get someone who's good. I really like Tyrese Halliburton, and I think it would be crazy of us to not even mention Obi Toppin's name, who was the best player in college basketball last year. So obviously there's a lot of upsides there. But yeah, I think it's the same as Charlotte. Just get whoever you think is the best talent because really you could bring any quote-unquote star into your team and they would...
It's wild that we haven't talked about Toppin because he won the Player of the Year in college basketball. He's a little older than everybody else, but I kind of feel like that's overrated a little bit. Like if he can play, you can play. Get him in there, and maybe that means less development time. But on a team like Chicago that needs lots of stuff, and Toppin who played at Dayton nearby, like bring him in and let him be your star for the next couple of years.
And he's a great spot-up shooter. I have his percentages here. He shot 63% from the field and 40%, just over 40% from the three-point line. So really, if you can bring in a spot-up shooter and someone who's going to be really good from the three-point line right off the bat, he can come in as a rookie and make a difference on a team.
Sure. Yeah. The other player, I know we've talked top 4. The other guy that I've just kind of seen and looking at lottery prospects and guys that I think is interesting, the way the NBA plays these days is the kid Nesmith from Vanderbilt. Like, I don't think he's going to be a top 5-6 pick, and I've seen he kind of gets knocked for his athleticism a little bit. But he shot over 50% on 3-pointers in college. Like, that's incredible. And in the NBA, like, if you're on a team, especially if you go like late lottery where there's a couple of other good players already on the team that are going to drive and kick, if you got a guy who can hit 50% of your 3-pointers, like, you can find a spot on the floor for that guy.
Well, that's the other thing with shooters. They can come on as a rookie and make a difference right away. I'm going to go lastly to the number 5 pick is Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I really like Deni Avdija from Israel. Not only, and I'll just say Cleveland is very good for international players. They've got a couple. But he's so good. He's 6'10". And I know defense is very underrated because offense is flashy and it sells tickets, but he is an incredible defender. Yeah. And Cleveland is one of the worst teams in letting teams score on them.
Yeah, I mean, if you have him, you put him with Kevin Love and Andre Drummond, like, that's a pretty big front line across the front. I don't know what else Cleveland would be looking for. Maybe they get Toppin, another kid from Ohio there. You could put him in there with that
space
front line.
The floor with those two big guys.
If anything with Cleveland, I would, Andre Drummond just opted into his contract. So you got size already. Now you got to figure out the rest of the thing. And the guards they've gotten the last couple of years, none of them have really panned out so far or become one of those top guard prospects. So I think if anything with Cleveland, you might be looking for a perimeter player or someone who can spread it out a little bit.
The last name that I have on my list, and I don't know where he's going to go, but I just liked watching him and I enjoyed his highlights, was Isaac Okoro.
Yeah.
Another, really good defender. He can defend 1 through 4, which is good. He can pass. He can play off the ball well. He cuts well. He's obviously not at LaMelo's passing abilities, but it's another name that I think could go in that, 4, 5, 6 range.
The other name that I found, I mentioned it in my Grind City Media column this week, is a second-round prospect that I hope the Grizzlies take a look at. He's from Canada. He's originally Senegalese, moved to Canada. His last name is Mane, M-A-N-E, Kareem Mane, but it's spelled M-A-N-E. You telling me we couldn't sell 1 million jerseys that said Memphis on the front and Maine on the back? Come on.
Yeah. I think even if he doesn't play 1 minute and he's just like the 13th guy on the bench, the jerseys would.
Could he wear number 901?
Yes. We're going to actually put something into the league to make sure that happens.
I would love it.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's all we've got for our 2020 Grizzlies draft coverage presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm Kelcey. That's Lang. We're excited for the draft.